Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
Tragedy on the other side of the world. The video taken moments before one country's worst plane crash in decades. Looking ahead to celebrations for a leader in civil rights. How the state line is honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And the event where you can plan your big day in one day. A look at the area's biggest bridal expo. Good evening, I'm Taylor Castro. Thanks for joining us tonight. 68 people are confirmed dead after a plane crashes in Nepal. Cell phone video shows the Yeti Airlines plane descending moments before it crashed into a gorge. It was making its approach to an airport that opened 2 weeks ago. The crash site is 1 kilometer away from it. 4 people are still missing. No word yet on the cause, but officials say this is the country's worst plane crash in 3 decades. In New York, the Federal Aviation Administration is investigating a near miss between 2 planes at JFK Airport. A 737 had to abort its takeoff on Friday when another plane crossed the runway. The 737 jerked to a sudden halt almost as soon as it began accelerating. The 2 planes came within 1,000 feet of each other. Passengers said the cabin erupted in screams before the flight was called off. 151 people were on the flight, including crew members. The price of sending a piece of mail is about to go up. Starting next Sunday, the 22nd, the U.S. Postal Service is set to increase the price of postage. A cost of the Forever stamp will go up 3 cents, the 3rd price hike in about a year. Since Forever stamps are accepted, well, forever, if you buy them now at the lower price, they'll still work on letters in years to come. The price of sending priority mail will increase, but at the same time, the cost of priority mail shipping materials like envelopes and boxes will go down. The price for other shipping services of Parcel Select Ground and USPS Connect Local will stay the same. You can find the full breakdown of the 2023 price changes on our website, mystateline.com. Tomorrow, celebrations for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. here in the state line. Rockford's mayor and the Rockford Public Library will honor the civil rights leader on Monday. The celebration will include leaders and organizations representing civic service and faith in the community, including choirs from local churches.
There we'll also have a couple of nonprofits who have been working specifically with our youth in our community, if that's a Community Life Center of Rockford, if that's Rockford Promise, or if that's Youth for Christ. So you'll have kind of the service aspect of Martin Luther King.
The event kicks off at 5:30 Monday evening at the Nordhoff Center in downtown Rockford. Planning for your big day comes with a lot of stress. After a 3-year hiatus, the State Line Splendor Bridal Expo had 40 vendors ready to help soon-to-be brides. Video journalist Austin Lewis gives us a closer look.
It's fun to see everyone again. It's been great to see the business owners and the vendors back every year. Are you guys doing it? Are you doing it? We've even had other bridal show producers. Grateful that we're bringing it back. Well, we are kind of coming back from our COVID hiatus. We are introducing to the brides a lot of vendors that can make their big day a great day. It is a lot of work to prepare. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but it's really just to help showcase the vendors in this area. We have some of the best wedding vendors locally, and a lot of people don't always know that. So when you're looking for a photographer and a DJ and a florist and a videographer, there's so many people to look for, and it's a little overwhelming to start. So if we can bring everybody here on one day, they can get their big day all set up and scheduled and everything today.
There's a new Queen of the World, and it's Miss USA. Arbany Gabriel was crowned Miss Universe Saturday night. Originally from Texas, she is the first Filipino-American to win Miss USA. She's a fashion designer, model, and sewing instructor who also owns her own sustainable clothing line. When asked how she would demonstrate Miss Universe as a progressive organization, she cited her work using recycled materials in her fashion design and teaching sewing to survivors of human trafficking and domestic violence. Classified documents from President Biden's time in the Obama administration recently discovered in his home and former office have both Democrats and Republicans looking for more information. The White House says the president is cooperating with a special counsel investigation into his handling of sensitive information. Emin Nguyen has the latest.
President Biden delivering a sermon at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s former church in Atlanta, honoring the late civil rights leader on what would have been his 94th birthday.
But I don't need to tell you that we're not always at our best. We're fallible.
The visit to Ebenezer Baptist Church comes just days after Attorney General Merrick Garland announced the appointment of a special counsel to investigate how the president handled classified documents after leaving the vice presidency in 2017.
Nobody's above the law.
Georgia Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock, the current pastor at Ebenezer, believes Biden and his team are cooperating with the investigation.
We need to get to the bottom of this so we don't see this kind of thing happen again.
Warnock and other Democrats say they support Garland's decision to appoint a special counsel. And while some are calling the situation embarrassing for the president, they are quick to contrast Biden's case with that of former President Trump, who is also being investigated for possible mishandling of classified material.
It looks, as far as we can tell, that it was inadvertent that these documents were in these locations. When they were discovered, they were immediately provided to the archives or to the Justice Department.
Meantime, House Republicans have now launched their own probes.
The American people see how President Trump's been treated on one hand, and they want to see a sense of fairness.
The chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Kentucky Congressman James Comer, has written to the White House requesting visitors' logs from President Biden's home in Wilmington to be turned over by January 30th. The White House has not responded. M. Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, it was nice to see the sunshine after we've had quite a few cloudy days stack up here over the last week to week and a half. But the sunshine we had from today filling back in with cloud cover, and that'll leave our skies mostly cloudy as we take a live look with our SkyTrack camera down in Rochelle this evening. Those clouds tied into our next storm system that'll roll through later tonight, during the day tomorrow, and bring us mostly rainfall for the start of our Monday. That low pressure system working in now across the southwest, already starting to see that moisture begin to develop here across the plains moving through Iowa. However, there's nothing really of that reaching the ground just yet. We're still pretty dry, so it'll take a little time before we're able to kind of saturate the atmosphere to allow those rain showers to reach the ground. I think after midnight we may see a little drizzle or a sprinkle or two. Our winds, they've been a bit on the blustery side, so even though that wind direction coming in from the south and we had the sunshine today, it did put a little chill into the air. Southeasterly winds sustained at 10 to 20 miles per hour. We'll hang on to those gusts here this evening, close to about 25, even 30. So it is going to be a windy night tonight, which will actually help keep our temperatures in the mid-30s overnight, but that wind chill number still going to drop down into the 20s. So even though a milder night can be expected, it'll still feel cold when you get up tomorrow. 38 in Freeport, Rockford, 37 right now in Belvedere, Rochelle. Wind chill factor is a good 20 degrees colder than what that actual air temperature sits. So as we go through the night, our winds, they stay on the breezy side from the south. Notice as we get closer to midnight, we pick up a little drizzle, maybe a light shower or two. Steadier rain is then expected to move in. This between about 4 and 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. So you're getting up, getting ready to head out the door, and it is going to be raining. Not heavy rainfall, but at times we may see a little more steady rain begin to pick up here after about 5 or 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. And there could be a couple pockets of a little more moderate rainfall going into the mid to late morning hours tomorrow. I don't anticipate really any rumbles of thunder. We may actually get a couple of thunderstorms later in the day. Most of this rainfall is going to be lifting to the north, at least the steadier rain, by about noon, 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We're not going to completely dry out for the afternoon, but it stays a little more scattered. With that, temperatures are actually going to rise a little during that time, which should bring us into the upper 40s late in the evening on Monday. Now, as a cold front begins to work closer to us, we do have to watch just how much clearing we're able to see as a result of that, because if we do, the location of that low pressure system in eastern Iowa and that kind of warm front, occluded front moving in right over north central Illinois could give us a strong thunderstorm or two. The risk is fairly low, but but it is there. And January kind of thunderstorms, you don't need a whole lot in the atmosphere to really get maybe a strong thunderstorm or two. So that is something we are going to keep an eye on during the day tomorrow. As that colder air then wraps in on the backside, maybe a couple of flurries mixed in with a little drizzle early Tuesday, and then we keep with that cloud cover going into Tuesday afternoon. As far as the risk for tomorrow, notice it is low. It is kind of just a general thunderstorm risk. But again, the proximity of that low pressure system and that front could give us a strong thunderstorm or two, may provide us just with enough spin in the atmosphere to get a strong one or two. And I think that window would really kind of ramp up between about noon, 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow. So that's really kind of what we're watching for there. 35 degrees, that's where we'll end up for tonight. It does stay on the windy side. Tomorrow, look at temperatures up around 48. As far as rainfall amounts, between about 1/4 of an inch up to 1/2 an inch of rain coming up late tonight during the day tomorrow. You've got 40 on Tuesday. Numbers will trend downward. Still keeping an eye, Taylor, on the system Wednesday night into Thursday. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a mix coming in with that. Maybe the potential for some freezing rain too. And right now could see some accumulating snow late Wednesday into early Thursday.
Now sports with Reagan Holgate.
The Cubs haven't halted the offseason spending just yet. News coming in late last night from ESPN's Jesse Rogers confirms that Trey Mancini is headed to Chicago. Pending a successful physical, Mancini will become the latest free agent addition for the Cubs this winter on a 2-year deal. The 30-year-old spent his entire career with the Orioles before a mid-season trade to Houston last year. Mancini, a cancer survivor, helped the Astros to a World Series title. He could be a primary option at designated hitter for the Cubs. He's a career .265 hitter with 125 home runs. The White Sox have also agreed to terms with 5 pitchers on 1-year contracts to avoid arbitration. Lucas Giolito for $10.4 million, Dylan Cease for $5.7 million, Reynaldo Lopez, also Michael Kopech, and Jose Ruiz. Patrick Kane returned to the ice last night as the Hawks hosted Seattle, but the Kraken gave a whooping to the home team. Jonathan Taves tied things up at 1 early in the first, but it was all Sea Monsters after that. Let the parade of goal scoring commence. 6 Seattle goals on their first 7 shots. Jared McCann ended up with a hat trick. Seattle won 8-5. Just cruel, and definitely not one of the best performances Chicago has put together this season.
That was far from the level we played at these last 3 games, and we got to show a little bit more experience, a little bit more character in the way that we're taking steps forward as a team and maturing as a team, and when we start getting momentum and things start clicking because we're working and we're earning the bounces, we can't just have an off night. We're just not feeling it, and we're just gonna mail it in like that. We got to be better.
The Bulls grabbed a big win this afternoon over the Warriors. What a game from Nikola Vucevic. 43 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists. The Illinois women won their first game today as a ranked team with this 70-57 win over Minnesota. The Fighting Illini moved to 5-2 in Big Ten play. Makira Cook led the team with 20 points. All right, it's wild card weekend, and what a wild one it has been. Last night ended with a historic comeback win for the Jaguars, and today between the Dolphins and the Bills didn't disappoint either. Let's get things started at the end of the second. The Dolphins score 17 unanswered points to tie the game. Now just a minute into the third, the ball comes out of Josh Allen's hands. It's a scoop and score for the Fish, and they take the lead, but the Bills will find their way back on top, and they'll add to it here. What a throw from Allen to Gabe Davis for another Buffalo TD. Miami will find the end zone again, but rookie quarterback Skylar Thompson couldn't finish this one out. It was a sloppy game, but the Buffalo Bills survived 34-31, and they are on to the divisional round. All right, another wild card game happening right now. Saquon Barkley making his postseason debut, and he already has a touchdown. Giants lead by 3 right now at the start of the third. And Matt Nagy is going to get another shot climbing up the coaching ladder. The Tennessee Titans have requested permission from the Chiefs to interview the former Bears head coach for their open offensive coordinator job. It'll be interesting to see how that one unfolds.
It's mid-January and we're just now finally getting our first peaks of sunshine.
I know. It was nice to see the sun after we've been dealing with such a cloudy stretch. I think actually through the end of December up until now we've been dealing with the cloud cover. And we've also been talking more of a milder pattern too. So we really haven't had a lot of snowfall. It may change a little bit later this week, but before we get to that, it's rain we have to deal with again during the start of tomorrow. The first warn interactive radar on mystateline.com. We've got a couple of lighter showers there to our west and southwest. However, nothing really reaching the ground. Still some dry air in place, so our evening is going to stay dry, but it is going to be windy. The cloud cover we had out there earlier today, or sunshine I should say, is filled back in with the cloud cover, which will leave us with a cloudy sky going through the night tonight. Temperatures will drop down into the mid-30s. We're up to 48. I think this will actually be later in the day tomorrow, so we spend most of our time in the low mid-40s during the afternoon. Rain during the day tomorrow, at least the first half. Quarter of an inch up to a half an inch of rain coming up, so you'll need the rain gear tomorrow morning. Some breaks in the cloud cover for the afternoon. Could see a couple of thunderstorms. There's a low end risk for a strong storm or two during the afternoon. So I know January not typically thought of as being, a risk for any strong, severe thunderstorms, but it is kind of something to keep an eye on just with the position of the front and low pressure system. Then temperatures will trend down, a little more typical of where we should be. Keeping an eye on Wednesday, Thursday. Could see a mix there, maybe some accumulating snow during that time.
It's feeling a lot more like March or April. Thanks, Candace. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you at 10.